welcome to part 3 of the Squier Stratocaster refret, and I cut part 2 short because there happened to be a problem. And when I'd done the refret and I wanted to get all the frets levelled, I tightened the truss, tried to get the neck straight by tightening the truss rod. It wouldn't tighten enough. I couldn't get it right, so I loosened the nut on the truss rod. See if I would I'll try and get some bending to the neck, blah 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 blah. It became apparent that the truss rod had stripped there, so I couldn't get the nut back on. So I had two options: go and buy a new neck, replace it, refret it, put the new neck on, and I did. I went and bought a new neck, cost me £45. Told the owner, I says, look, it's not your fault it's happened, it's not my fault it's happened, but just as a really goodwill gesture, I am going to pay for the neck. So I paid for it, 45 quid. Anyway, a few days later he got back to me, says, I don't want the new neck, I want my neck on there. I thought, you're joking. So the only way to get his new neck back on there was to remove the fingerboard, replace the truss rod, put the fingerboard back on. So that annoyed me quite a lot. So the part of the video I filmed, I came across, I was really not happy. And I laid into the, I didn't lay into the guy, but I didn't hold anything back, saying, oh, you're throwing that back in my face and you're taking the piss and blah, 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 blah. But I decided I was not going to do that and say that because, you know, even though that's maybe what transpired, there's no need for me to take it that way. End of the day, right, I'm going to get the guitar sorted anyway. He did say to me, in fairness to the owner of the guitar, he said, look, I'll just pay for the work you've done. Sorry it didn't work out. I'll pay for the work you've done, just send it back. Well, I couldn't send it back, bro. I said, no, you paid for a job. I said, I can't charge you anything unless you get your guitar back how you wanted it. It will mean, however, in the future, when someone asks me to refret a Squier Strat, I'll probably not do it. I'll say, no, it's not worth it. Go buy a new neck, 50 quid. I'll sort your new neck out for you, but no, it's not worth it. So I'm probably not going to take these jobs on anymore. But the reason I'm doing this part of the video again, filming it now, is, look, I'm going to put that all behind me. End of the day, I'm going to fix the guitar exactly as it should be fixed. In fact, I've already done it because this video is added on. I've actually done the guitar, it's finished, it's ready to go back. But I'm sticking this on the beginning. Now you're going to see the work I've done. The part I missed out on the video was removing the fingerboard, which basically I steamed it off. I got it off, but I was then able to remove the truss rod, blah 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 blah, put a new truss rod in, glue the fretboard back on. Well, you're going to see me glue a fretboard on. So I'm going to end this little part of the video here. When the next part you're going to see has already been filmed, I will glue it to this part of the video and you'll see all the work I'm going to do to get this guitar right. Right, you'll now see that I'm covering the neck with glue. In this case, Titebond original. Got a good spread on there. Not worried about filling these little holes in where the nylon strip is going to go for the side fret markers because I can re-drill if I need to. Now we are going to get a squeeze out, so there's more glue on there than I need. Make sure I don't get any on the truss rod end, but I will be turning the truss rod every now and again as it dries, just so we don't get stuck or it doesn't stick. And it's just important to get a decent spread on here, make sure every area is wet. I've done this before. Like I say, if you have too much, it doesn't matter, we're going to get a squeeze out. I've taped up the side of the neck, so any squeeze out will go on the tape, not on the neck itself. And we've got every area wet there. I will also glue the fingerboard itself. Plenty of glue there. I'll scrape this off the truss rod itself here, right up the centre. I'll try to. We're going to get some there anyway, but you know, that's why I put tape over the truss rod. The truss rod is actually blue. Looks yellow because I put yellow tape on there, 6mm tape. Pay attention to the end here. Got some glue trying to get inside there near the truss rod. We'll scrape that out. That's my wife. Just bear with me a second. So yeah, back all good. Just told my wife to be quiet. She just got back from a dog walk and from a church meeting, which is brilliant. So there you go. That part is ready. Spread some probably could have done with a better glue spreader than this one. It's only a centimetre wide, but we'll get there. Far much more glue on here than I need, but we will get squeeze out. So I think we're ready to place this where it needs to be. I'm just going to wipe the edges in a moment. Any spill out we get that I can't wipe off because I'm going to be using a rubber band to secure this and to hold it onto the neck, we will get off later as I'm going to sand the sides of the neck. It's not a glass finish neck anyway, which makes it a little bit easier. So that's it, we have great coverage there. We'll wipe off anything that's on the fingerboard. Any spillage we can get off in a bit. I'm not too worried about that, we'll get off later. I've got to level the frets anyway yet. That's where it needs to be. Wipe my hands. Like I said, I'm not worried about any squeeze out at the moment. I'm going to stick that out of the way. Guide pins, to make sure we're in the right place. So there you go, we are in the right place there. See what I've done with that. Happy with that. Let's go with the rubber band. I'm going to cut this into lengths, or should I not? Let's see how we go on. If you've not seen this done before, Dan Erlewine does this. Dan Erlewine from Stumac, and all we're going to do is we're going to go a little bit tighter. Excuse me while I get this done off camera. Stretching as I do it. And I will come back across myself in a moment. Try to stab yourself with your guide pins. You see what's happening here? Plenty of squeeze out there, look at all this. Not worried about any of that. That, my friends, is wrapped up. I'm going to come back a little bit more. This area, get a good wrap at this end here. There you go. That is a neck. Glued up, ready. That should be absolutely bang on. Gonna leave that for a couple of hours and we will come back to that and see how it has done. Job done for now, I can't do anything else. I'll leave them pins in there, we'll pull them out later. And here we are. I removed a rubber band this morning. I've tied it up with neck, scraped off all the glue and I've sanded it down. And there is the neck with the fingerboard glued back on. New truss rod in there. Truss rod works fine. I've actually got the neck straight. A couple of things I need to do. There are a couple of tiny areas that need, there was a chip there. I need to fill with some wood dust and super glue. One there. There's that at the end there. I'll fill that in, get some super glue in there, sand it all off. You won't even know that's happened. And I need to fill position marker there, the pile of holes, the drill holes I made for getting the fingerboard back on. Once that's filled, you won't even know. Then I can set about, that will be the free work done, and I can set about finishing this guitar off. I can get it up on the jig again. Jig by jig, I mean I can bolt this to that piece of 30mm MDF. We can get it all level, truss rod's working fine like I said. And we can get these frets levelled, recrowned, polished, and we can get the neck back on and the guitar back to its owner. I'm not going to waste a lot of time making video on this. I still need to put the dot, did I mention I need to put the dot inlays back in? I bought some of that, cost me a few quid. My expense again, but I'll sort that out, just get this one out of the way. So, good news, it's done. We've got it glued back on. Second time I've glued a fingerboard back onto a neck. Second time it's gone great. So I will crack on with that and I'll give you another update later on. Right then folks, I'm just going to put little snippets of work on this Squier Stratocaster in here, and I'm at the stage now where I'm levelling the frets. So I've got them all covered in marker pen I've leveled them a little bit with a file just to get the high ones low, and I'm going to go across with a leveling beam, 240 grit on there, and I'm going to finish off with 400 grit on the other side. They're more or less level anyway. All I'm going to do is I'm just going to basically just go across with this, starting at the centre. I'm just going to make sure we're removing material from all over. And this is basically what I'm going to do. A couple of minutes here, just following the natural curve of the fret, just to get them all level. As you can see, there are bits of pen here on this side, so I still need to be removing bits from this edge of this side or down here. So I'll just keep going. One fret in particular there is pretty low, so I'll check with the level checker. Just see if we've got a high one in front of that. Don't look like we have. So maybe that was just a little bit low. Keep going, always keep going. I'll turn the... And that's it, we'll just wait till we've got it all removed. Yeah, now we're hitting it, that's good, that's good. And that's it, we'll remove pen everywhere, tiny little bit there. I will keep going, we'll get them all level, then we'll come back, we'll finish off with the 400 side. I'll show you how we get on there, and the job will be a good one. We can then get on to recrowning and polishing. So here we are, I've got the frets levelled. I've just covered them in blue pen because we're going to go over. I've already been over with the 400 grit, but we're going to do it again. This should come off really quite easy everywhere to show that we've got the frets level. I'm just going to follow the lines there. And that is all the blue pen gone. Little tiny spots there. Just maybe just got it down there a little bit. And that is it. That is the frets all level. What remains to be done now is I need to get them recrowned. I'm going to crack on, not going to jibber jabber. I've got a lot to do. Right, I'm just going to show. I've crowned the frets. Well, I've levelled them, crowned them. Now what I'm doing is these beveled edges, taking off the burrs at the end. And what I do is I use a really smooth file. It's a Swiss number 4 cut file. It's a well made one. It's made by Villiers. Is it Villiers? Can't remember. Can you read that there? Expensive this was, 20 something quid. And I've got a safe edge here. And it's such a smooth file. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll over these edges, or these semicircles at the end, the beveled edges of the frets. And all I do is it's just 3 strokes. It's 1, 2, 3. And I'll repeat that. We're coming at the side and we just roll over and down. We're always using this safe ground flat edge. Really easy to do once you get the technique right. I kind of always knew how to do this, but I got this technique by watching or talking with Nigel Roberts down at leicestershireluthier.co.uk down in Threenston there. What that man can do with 5 strokes of a file, well, it's amazing. But here, just 3 strokes on each one, just removing these burrs on the edge, nice and gentle. It's a very sharp file, this. And what I will be doing is, when I come to polishing these, I'll be sanding these edges anyway. I don't know what you can see there, surely you can see a bit. Last 3, over, in, down. Nice and smooth, over, this side, over, down, and again, over, down. That's all it is, 3 strokes on the edge of each fret. I'm going to turn this board around now, do the other side. And here we are with this Squier, and today I've levelled the frets. I've recrowned them, polished them yet, recrowned them. I've crowned the edges, softened the edges, took away all the burrs from the beveled edges there. That is now ready to go to final polishing on these frets. Once that's done, we can start getting, we'll get the tuners back on, we'll get a new nut put in there. I'll get this all sanded down, we'll get this area cleaned up. And I can look at getting the dot inlays back in the top of the neck. I'll re-drill each hole, 2mm. I've got some dot inlays to put in there, get some new ones in. Once it's all done, I'll give it a final sanding. We'll clean this area up, we'll get some oil soaked in there to bring the colour back. And we'll get it on the guitar, get it shipped out, job done. So stay tuned and I'll be back with another update later on. And here we are with the frets all polished, and I think you will agree that looks absolutely fabulous. Gone over with 5-6 grits of sandpaper, ranging from 800 grit right up to 2000 grit. So 800, 1000, 1200, 1500, 2000. So this is 5 grits. See if we can get them in the light a little bit. I can tell you straight away, these are like mirrors. Absolutely wonderful. Like I say, no matter what, you're always going to get the same level of work, no matter what guitar it is, what brand it is, and how much extra work I've had to do. You're still going to get the same level of work. I'm not going to skimp or reduce my commitment just because something went wrong with the guitar initially that wasn't my fault. So, wow, they look amazing. Do you want to zoom in there? Bang it up that way. If you want to zoom in, have a look. They're like mirrors, each of these. Absolutely brilliant. So now, what have we got to do? Well, remove all the tape, clean it all up. Gonna have to get some soap on here, soak all this dirt out that's gone in where I've had to file this end and sand this end. We'll get that done. I'll re-drill the holes for the 2mm side inlays there. I'll get some new inlays in there. Probably do that all off camera. We'll put the new tuners on. I've already filled the holes in the back, as I've mentioned before on earlier videos, and we can get it back on the guitar, get the guitar set up and get it shipped out and back to its owner. So this video is pretty long where we are right now. I know it's gone into well over 30 minutes, I believe, so I'm going to crack on, just come back with little snippets now and again. And here's just a quick look of the neck with the tape just removed. I think you'll agree that looks absolutely beautiful. There you go, catch them in the light. Great stuff. Right, I've just drilled the holes for the side inlay dot markers. I've mixed up some epoxy and I'm going to glue them in. And I'm doing this, first time I've done this. Just got a little bit of glue in there. Sure, I need a little bit. Mix more glue than I'm probably going to need. "30-minute epoxy this, so it's not going to dry before I get all the inlays in. We're going to get squeeze out, of course. Not bothered about any of that. I'm bothered about if I've made enough. And I'm going to whiz these straight in, cut them as I do them. Not worried about any spill out on the glue because I've made enough. Absolutely brilliant. I tried to put the old dowel in, it wasn't big enough, so I've already cut one. I'm using strips. I'm not bothered about it sticking out the end because I will be I'll cut and trim. There you go, so you're seeing this, first time I've done this. I will take a standing knife or something, I'll trim these once they dry. So I've got plenty of this so I can cut it proud. Tell you what I'll do, I'll cut them before I put them in. Fair enough, we'll go that route. Be like that. Maybe these holes are not as deep as I thought they were, so it doesn't look like it. So, got plenty of this gubbins left, that's good. Wasn't expensive, £4 for all of this. It's only expensive when you're paying for it like I am. And I shouldn't be, but you know, that's the way it goes. So that's it, inlays in. I'll let them dry. Once they dry, I'll snip them off and I'll sand them flush. Right, I'm going to show you where we are now with this guitar, and I have fitted a nut which will still need carving. It's a lot higher than it needs to be. I think you'll agree we've got that in nice there. It's glued in both sides, very nice, very neat. Need a bit more sanding to do this side, but don't worry about that. I've also plugged one of the guide pin holes on this. If you look there, you'll just see the round next to my finger there. That's plugged and sanded, and I'm going to show you how I do that, but I will explain now how I do it. And what I do is I take some wood dust, normally rosewood, but I also have some older, which is lighter. So take from a 1964 Rickenbacker fretboard. I like to go with lighter because when you drop in the super glue, it darkens anyway. So I'm going to show you, I'm going to do this one. There's a couple of areas I need to fill and fix. There's one there, there's one here. These are all problems I had when I removed the fingerboard, if you remember. And there's that one there. So I'm going to do this one on camera. So bear with me while I change the angle of the camera and I'll show you how I do this. Right, you will see I've got some wood dust here. I've powered it up next to the hole I'm going to fix, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to cram this full of wood dust, or try to. And because I can't get it in with a screwdriver, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a point, like so. Just cram it in that hole. I'll just keep going. I'll come back to my screwdriver. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take some really thin super glue. That's what I use. I'm just going to drop some in that hole. There you go. I'm going to go back with the screwdriver and I'm going to keep cramming in wood dust till it fills that hole. I'll keep going. A little bit more super glue, and I'll just keep going until we're proud of the hole. And chances are we might be there with that. That's it. So what I'm going to do, and there you go. You will see that I'm now proud of that hole. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to take a file, in this case my number 3 file, and just gently remove the excess there. And once that's done, I'll take some sandpaper. I mean, this is a raggedy piece of old sandpaper, I could have got some fresh. And that's it. That's more or less done. I'm going to drop a little bit more super glue on there just to darken that up a tad. Once this fingerboard is oiled, you're not going to see this repair. Far too much glue there, we don't worry about things like that, we will soak that up. Here you go. We'll take a sanding blade and we'll just clean that up. And there you go, repaired. I will get some fine sandpaper. I will tidy that up and you won't even see that once it's all fixed. I'm going to get on with all fixes and I'll come back and show you how that went. Here we are, and that is a good fretboard removal, a replacement or truss rod replacement as I have ever done. Excuse me. Neck is all back together, the nut is on there, still needs cutting. I have removed the old truss rod by removing the fingerboard. I put a new truss rod in there, all this for free by the way. I've put new dot inlays in there. I think you'll see if you want to stop, pause, check that. Check that. No holes anywhere. This side, all holes filled. Pause, check that. Pause and check that. Pause and check that. Job done. Truss rod replaced, fingerboard put back on. It's had a complete fret job. All the frets have been crowned, level crowned and polished. As good a job as I've ever done this. I'll put the Vanson tuners on there, brand new. So there you go. That is all the work on the neck done. I can guarantee the frets are absolutely level, they're absolutely crowned, they're absolutely polished. I need to cut the nut, get this back on the guitar, get some strings on it, get it set up and get it out. Now seriously, very, very proud of the work I've done on this. I've also done some extra work, well all of this was extra work, but extra work I did, like there were some holes in the fingerboard, particularly one at this one just there, and there was a big divot just there which I'd already filled in and repaired anyway free of charge. I have put an extra 10 hours in this. I've removed the fingerboard, replaced the truss rod, put the fingerboard back on, replaced the dot inlays, all that work free of charge. End of the day, really, really pleased with how this has come out. So I'm going to get it back on the guitar, I'm going to get the nut cut, get some strings on there. The last time you'll see me on this part of this, on this project, or the last bit of video you're going to see is when I've got it all set up and ready to go out of the door. And here we are, and the guitar is all finished, and it has been a long haul, but it is done. I think you'll agree it looks fantastic. You would not know that that fingerboard had ever been off the guitar. If I just get it there, and the inlays I've put in, lot, I've decided I'm going to charge him for the inlays. It's another £4, £5 on top. But I have done about 8 hours free work on this guitar. That aside, all the anger's dissipated now, it's all gone, it's not a problem at all. The guitar is supremely set up. It came in for a refret, it's had a refret. I've just finished cutting the nuts, the second nut, the first one I messed up. I didn't get the spacers right, so I put a new nut on there last night and I've got it finished this morning. So the guitar, it plays beautiful, it looks beautiful. The action's nice, the frets are delicious, they're so good. So that's it. It is another project finished. I'm kind of glad it's out of the way, but end of the day, the owner is going to get this back, he's going to be really happy, and hopefully there's going to be no recriminations or no comeback from this. You know, I've gone out of my way to sort this out. I've given it 8 hours, 9 hours work absolutely free. You know, I've gone above and beyond what could normally be expected, but it's the way I am. I couldn't have sent this guitar back not being right. Even though the guy said, look, just send it back as it is, and I appreciate what you've done, I'll pay for what you've done. Couldn't do that. I would have had to charge him over 100 quid anyway. And then he'd have got a guitar with a knackered neck. Absolutely no good at all. So, you know, I've got it right, I've put it right, I've done what is to be expected of me. I'm just making sure, I'm just reading my notes here. I put some notes that I wanted to include on the guitar. But let's recap what's been done to the guitar. It came in for a refret and a setup. It became apparent there's some dings in the neck which I filled in absolutely free. One particularly being here on the 7th fret. There was a big deep gouge in there. I'll show you that. I filled that in. A couple more areas I filled in. I did a refret, so it's had a complete refret. I've done a complete setup, so it's had all the electrics tested. There's a bit of a crackle on one pot, I'll sort her out. It became apparent later on after I'd done my refret that the truss rod had it, which you know about. I did replace the neck, but he didn't want the replacement neck after I'd bought it, so I had to go and get the money back, which took some doing, but I did get it back in the end, praise the Lord. I ended up removing the fingerboard to get it with truss rod to replace the truss rod, a job I would have charged £175 for on its own anyway. And it's had a new nut and a complete setup. It's also had brand new tuners from Vanson, which look fantastic. They're a nice 18:1 gear ratio. They're brand new, they were 15 quid. My recommendation that we got them on. If there's one more recommendation I could give for this guitar, I would say you need a string tree on these two middle strings because the break angle's not right. He didn't supply one, so I didn't put one on. But that's it, it is all finished. They also wanted the tremolo blocking off, so I've tightened the springs right up, that will not move. So that's it, the guitar is set up, the frets are fantastic, there's relief in the neck there, and it's all ready to go. In the future, if someone comes to me, that's the 3rd Squier I've refretted, so it is worth getting them done sometimes. But for the future, if someone comes to me and says, will you refret this Squier for me? I'm going to let them know all the pitfalls, we're going to test everything, the truss rod, and I'm going to make sure they absolutely want it, because I think it's a false and bad economy to refret a Squier. I mean, the guitar's not worth anything. It's not worth anything now. It's only worth 100 quid now. It's just had 108, 190 quid. Well, it's actually had nearly 300 quid's worth of work on this, for which I've charged £160. So, you know, I will in the future be looking and saying, look, you know, probably not. You're better off just replacing the neck, because you actually are. I didn't need to take this job on. It's put me back a week on other jobs, you know, and I'm well behind on my work now. But that aside, the project is finished. The owner of this guitar has absolutely nothing to complain about. I guarantee this guitar has never played better. The neck is superb. And if you're going to complain when I've done 8 hours work on this, you know, whatever. But it's one, I'm quite kind of glad to get this one out of the way. I've got nothing against the owner. You know, end of the day, it's his guitar, it's his choice. He gets what he wants. I know the guitar's going out in fine condition. I've even been fetched a box for it from Music Scene in Mansfield because it came in just a case, no box. I'll put it back in the case, back in the box. The owner can sort out the shipping, and I will wait in that day for the guy to come and pick the thing up. And I'll tell you what, I'll be glad to see the back of it, but end of the day, I'm really proud of the work I've done on this. It's come out fantastic. It's a second fretboard removal and replacement I've actually done, and again, it's come out fantastic, so I'm really pleased with that. So that's it, another project out the way. So until the next one, as always, be good to each other, and I will see you soon.